Good afternoon. This is Paula, and you have tuned into The Ties That Bind. We are here today to discuss with you, we're on another subject. I know we were talking about a lot of stuff about trying to get our families and stuff together, but we've sort of switched, and we'll go back to that after this subject is over. But we're going to be talking about African spirituality. And really, our spirituality. That's what we came here. We came here knowing this, and over the time, we have sort of lost our way. And so James is going to spearhead the topic. We're with him because we all have studied. We're all there. We all know that the Bible is missing things. We're knowing that, you know, this is another piece of the puzzle. We're not here to discuss religion. We're not here to discuss whether we're right or wrong. But these are facts that we have gotten from other people, and we're discussing what our decisions on it, our feelings about it. So we're going to start with Tiffany, and she can introduce herself.
Good afternoon, family, friends and family. As you all know, I am here to bring the building blocks to help bring our family together, starting with the small family unit, and then moving out to the community at large.
Thank you. And then we'll go from there to James.
Sure. What's going on, Peace family? I'm here pretty much a tool to pretty much bridge the gap between the old and the new, the family members, the differences that we have between us, so we can actually figure out that we have more the same than what we actually have that's different. So we can finally come together and build something and know that we're on the right track.
Okay. And so from there, we're going to go directly into, because this is a really broad topic, so we're going to go directly into, we're not going to call it a religion, we want to call it a way of life. Do you agree, James?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Because as African people, we did have a set of rules, and it was really just part of our culture. This is something that we lived day to day. You know, and it wasn't something, you know, this was literally just a part of life. And the way that we did things, when I started studying this information, really started to make sense. It really started to make a lot of things make sense as far as the system that I was in, which was Christianity.
Right.
Yeah, it really started to pull things together so I could have a better understanding and understand where this information came from.
I agree.
All right.
Yes.
So,
all right.
So, explain to you, I'm going to go into the gnosis, Gnostic. I think it's called gnosis. It's Gnosis. But before, yes, and we'll have to go to James for him to explain what the system is and the steps. I don't even want to go there. He can tell you more than I can. We're studying this. We know that this is real, but we're going to go to James and let him figure it out. Let him tell us.
Yeah, sure. So the main thing is spirituality and African spirituality, and I wanted people to know the importance of knowing the spiritual system that you originated from versus the actual system that was given to you or pretty much forced on you after we came over here in slave ships. Not saying that it's totally different. A lot of things are different, but a lot of things are the same. But I want us to focus on certain systems that actually work for us when we were together as a people versus an outside system that even today is still not really working for us right now. So putting these pieces together what really helps kind of to build yourself up, and this is where the Gnosis comes in. When I first started, I want to say when I first kind of woke up to this information, the first thing that I studied was what I know today as Kemet, what most of you might know as Egypt, right? So this particular system, right, since I was a child, I was always taught that these people were bad, or they were, I guess, the original slave owners. They were people who enslaved the Hebrews. And then I started digging into this information, and for me and the stuff that I studied, I was shown that none of that stuff was even true. So when I kept digging into this information, you start to see that these people were not a fair-skinned people, like we were always taught, or maybe even like a sandy brown type of people. These are actually black people. Even furthermore, these are black, dark-skinned people. Even furthermore, I learned that Egypt is not separate from Africa. I noticed that it is actually a part of Africa, and a lot of what we know as the Middle East today was also a part of Africa at that time. So,
and Asia.
Yeah, and parts of Asia, and you can see the same systems all over the world. One place that you don't see the same systems is usually here in America, where they deem all this stuff as bad or some type of a witchcraft, which is not true at all. So, so I'm gonna start with you guys off. Go ahead.
I was saying it's really to demonize the people and to make it seem like that's where you came from, and you were this, that, and the other, and the third, and you were bad people. In the Bible, it says that that we were fierce, that we were strong, that we were people from the beginning, from the very beginning. And after a time, they changed that to make it be something that was evil and something that wasn't right.
Right.
And I don't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to put that in there.
No, you're absolutely right. It was deemed as evil, and they really tried to do everything to turn us away from this information, so we wouldn't even want to take a look at it. And when I first started going into this information, I was very, for lack of a better word, scared to look into this information, because what I was taught, as far as what was heathenism, I didn't want to be a heathen. I didn't want to be somebody that didn't believe in that same system, because when it came down to it, you're either going to go to heaven or hell, and if you're not doing what God wants you to do, according to how I was taught, you're going to go to hell. And this is one of those things that is really, especially if you're coming out of a Christian background. I mean, any other major religion here type of background, you will be real hesitant to even look at this information because of the possibility of going to hell or something like that, which was a fear tactic. So
it was.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
I agree with you. We grew up in a Pentecostal church, and anything that if you went against what their system was, you were subject to being, they call it silence. They put you somewhere and you couldn't speak, you couldn't get up and clap, you couldn't do anything. People just look at you like you had the scarlet letter. It was sort of like the scarlet letter.
Some people know it as being sat down. The church, they call it being sat down, where the church will basically, it's like they ostracize you.
Yeah, I didn't even know you all had went there. I didn't know you all know anything about that. Yeah.
Well, I was listening to somebody else speak, who was a theologian, and he was talking about that, because he grew up in the Southern Black church, and he was talking about that.
Right. And they were, and it was, a lot of it wasn't. It was what they were told instead of what you were studying, and you weren't. If you had been studying, you know that God told you to study to show yourself approval, a workman unto God. And they didn't get that part. They just wanted the preacher to tell them that. And so we got to get out of that from somebody telling us. You got to, and that's a lot of what Gnosis, the Gnostic faith, that place is for you to have a relationship with God.
Absolutely.
And everything else will fall in place.
Yeah. I mean, it absolutely will. And when you look at the Egyptian system, when you look at their principles, because they have seven different principles that they live by pretty much, you'll see that the first one is gnosis, and really that's about knowing yourself, knowing who you are in this world, which of course we have no recollection of that because our whole history has pretty much, it hasn't been erased because it's still there. We just have to take time to look for it and find.
We just don't know where it is. We don't even know where it came from.
Right, exactly. And that's why this first principle is really one of the most important principles, is to know thyself. And then you knowing yourself is knowing that your people already had a religion, and this religion, as far as black people are concerned, they had black deities to look to, who are actually, something that to look up to instead of what we were given as far as imagery is concerned, of a deity that doesn't even look anything like us. Okay, so when you start to look into these systems, you'll start to get a better understanding. Okay, this is what this is, and their deities are totally different than what we think a deity is. Theirs is more based off of nature. So when you go into that, as far as knowing yourself, you start to look within, and you start to find God. You'll start to find God within yourself. But it's because of the principles that are around you in nature that's around you, you understand how it all works together. This is a cycle of life, because you can't have one without the other. Okay, we need everything on this planet. We are probably one of the most dependent species on this planet. We need everything. Okay, and not everything necessarily needs us to survive on this planet. So you have to understand that we give thanks. I want to also read this prayer that I have right here, which will also help you grasp what I'm saying right now. I'm pulling it up. I had the page marked. Here it is. All right, so this is the Aho Metakuye Oyosin prayer. All right, and this prayer translates as all my relatives. All right, so the first one, so it goes like this: to the Creator for the ultimate gift of life, I thank you. To the mineral nation that has built and maintained my bones and all foundations of life experience, I thank you. To the plant nation that sustains my organs and body and gives me healing herbs for sickness, I thank you. To the animal nation that feeds me for my own flesh and offers your loyal companionship in this walk of life, I thank you. To the human nation that shares my path as a soul upon the sacred will of earthly life, I thank you. To the spirit nation that guides me invisibly through the ups and downs of life and for carrying the torch of light through the ages, I thank you. To the four winds of change and growth, I thank you. You are all my relatives, without whom I would not live. We are in a circle of life together, coexisting, codependent, co-creating our destiny. One not more important than the other, one nation evolving from the other, and yet each depend upon each other, one above and the one below. All of us are part of a great mystery, great spirit. Thank you for this life. So this is, and this is how our people actually saw God. We saw God through everything, instead of saying that this is just one being that's above our heads that's given us life. We actually recognize that nothing exists without the Creator. He's everywhere. This is where the omnipresence comes into play, when you see that God is in everything. And so when you give thanks to the plants, you're giving thanks to those plants and also to the God that creates those plants at the same time. And that's where I kind of want to get. That's why I kind of want to get our minds back to, so we can understand that this is all not bad. Like, you don't have to kill everything that's around you. You don't have to kill every bug, because it all has a purpose. If you have roaches in your house, the roaches are just doing their job, cleaning up whatever mess that you're left in the house, right? So you have to understand that this is all just a part of life. What do y'all think about that?
I think so.
I think it's absolutely true that everything is interconnected. I mean, you know that I'm a Christian and I'm strong in my faith. But this, for me, like I'm very open minded. And this does not challenge my faith. I look at it as an addition, like a building block to my faith. So I do believe that everything is interconnected, and we can't exist for anything else. It's not just physically, but spiritually too. In the spiritual world, there's the spirituality that exists in everything. I was watching a video. Right. This lady, she had found a way to hear the frequency of plants, and when she plugged these plants into this machine, it sounded like angels singing. Like you get all these plants were just. And to me, that's everything praising. And our flesh cuts us off spiritually from the spiritual realm. It's like if you look at our flesh like a veil that we can't see through. And it blocks our senses so that we can't perceive all these divine things that are happening around us. And you know, I just thought it was really powerful that she was able to find a way to just kind of pierce through that veil just a little bit, just so we can hear that little bit of a sound that's happening all around us. We just don't see it.
Right. But we have, and I don't want to. Did I interrupt you?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have. It took me a bit to realize that I was there, and I'm an animal lover. You know, we've always gone, and we've always gone. My parents took us out hiking. When you collect the plants and stuff, you bring them home, and you know, bugs and everything. I had callops. I had tadpoles, so they turned into little frogs. You know, stuff like that. But to a certain point, when I went to Africa, everything sort of came to me. And that's why I say everybody needs to go to that continent. I'm telling you, I found myself there. And I was sitting there. This is when I had just gotten there. And there were lizards. They were beautiful. I had saw it on television that, you know, when they're beautiful like that, they're dangerous. And, you know, and there's just bugs. You know, there's just stuff you didn't want in your house. And I'm sitting there, and I was just like, oh, my God. I said, I just saw a lizard. I said, I need you all to come. And he was just like, what is wrong? And I was just like, get it. I said, it's a lizard. And I saw him. He went in my shoe, but I don't know where he went. He went peacefully, went over there, turned the shoe over. There the lizard was. The lizard didn't run. He picked him up, and I said, kill it. And that was my first reaction. And I was like, no, we're not going to kill it. I'm just supposed to put him on side. And I was just like, and I thought after he left out of the room, I thought, why did I want him to be, why was I afraid? And two, why did I want him to kill it? You know, it's just like, because everything that's not in the place that you want it to be, or what someone else has told you where it should be, you want to get rid of it instead of dealing with it. And so when I moved here, God put me in a quiet place because I was constantly trying to find something to do. I just didn't want, because I felt like I was going somewhere else. And but when I got here, that's a long story. I won't tell you that story. We'll talk about it later. But I got here, and everything was so quiet, and I was sitting there, and then there was this bee, and my first thought was to swat it. And just something said, and he just came in front of my face, and he just did a little dance. And I was just like, what is he doing? And I was just like, okay, I watched him, and I let him go. And I'm just like, okay, why are we killing these things? And every time someone came to my house that their spirit wasn't right, guess what? That bee came zooming around the house. And he would just look at me, and he would look at them, and if he didn't like it, he would do another little dance. And I'm just like, oh, God. And so I knew that I had to let them, but we are so detached from nature because we don't have time for anything. And that's
we're not making time for it. Yeah, we're not making time for it. It's just and you gotta remember the culture that we grew up in, which is a culture that celebrates death and killing.
Right.
So this is the culture that we have to get our minds away from, because you don't kill things because because you feel like they're out of place. That doesn't make sense. If it's there for a reason. You don't have to kill and destroy it. You don't have to take out all the trees because you don't want them there. This is what we have to get away from. We have to learn, and especially with this culture, you have to learn how to give back. If you take I'm just using a fruit. If you take an apple from a tree, you have to learn how to plant the seeds after you eat the apple. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the type of state of mind that you want to give because it's a give and take, and you have to learn the balance in it all. So you can't just take, and not expect anything not to happen because, it's going to come back around because that's the law of the universe. What goes around comes around. So it's going to come back around, but you want to be able to control how.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
The world is literally dying under our feet. There's a pile of trash in the ocean that's larger than the state of Texas. And, the waters are rising, but they're not safe to drink. It's just all coming full circle.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't take care of this planet, this planet will take care of you one way or another. And so that's what we want to get our minds back to.
Give to it.
Exactly. So going down, the second principle is theology, which we kind of just went over, the study of nature and learning how nature operates. Because our people, since we were here for a very long time, since the beginning of this planet, we were here. So you have to think of what did we do while we were here. And I was talking to my aunt and my sister the other day about this. We literally came from nothing when we were on this planet. We had to look at everything that was around us to understand how this planet works. So when you see stuff like the pyramids, you got to remember when we first started building mud huts, and you got to think about how did we first get to those mud huts? What did we do to learn that? And then you see that they were studying like the termite mounds and the ant mounds and how they're building them up. And you're looking at nature to kind of understand how it works. And we're here to kind of perfect that, but not disturb what's around us at the same time. So theology is something that we definitely just went over. And then we have cosmogony, right? The study of nature of God and religious beliefs. So this is where you kind of create your system off of what you see. Okay, you start making principles off of the things that are around you. And then when you look at Egypt and you look at the walls in Egypt, you see that they have like a lot of different animals, a lot of different everything. They have stools, they have animals, but what you want to look at is how those animals actually act. So when you look at one of the deities, which is Hebrew, which is a falcon, right? When you look at the bird, the falcon, it's the highest. It flies the highest in the sky, right?
Right.
Now the falcon also represented the sun, so this is where you get the term the Most High from. All right, because the sun is the highest in the sky. There's nothing higher than the sun, and there's nothing that flies higher than that falcon, right? It's also the fastest bird, fastest animal in the world, which can travel up to 260-something miles an hour when it's diving down to catch its prey. So this is so studying animals gives you a good depiction of what they're trying to do, so you can get a better understanding of what they were saying. Right. Right. So ancestry, which is very important, learning where you come from. This particular system here was a matriotic system. We live in a patriotic system now, which is man pretty much runs the whole show. This system was all about the woman, right? In particular, the black woman. They held her to a very, very high standard because she is the mother of all. Okay, nobody here came out of anything but a woman. We all came out of a woman, right? And looking like my sister just had a baby not too long ago, and looking at that process, right? Looking at that process of being pregnant and how. When you look at the Bible, right, it says how the earth was created from the waters, right? Because what happens outside of us also happens inside of us, and how the earth was born within water, just like your child, just like everything is born in some, just like the children, everything is born in liquid first. Okay?
Right.
Everything, even the sun, according to them, came out of water before it rose up. Okay, so this is something you want to know. Looking within yourself, looking at how everything around you works, and knowing that the same process happens within you as well.
Right.
You have anything to say on that?
Well, I'm looking at that our bodies are made out of 80% water. I was looking at I was doing some research, and I have James, I was talking to you about it. I had gone to the doctor, and I wasn't going to go, and then I went. And there's what's the name of the thing where the Egyptians used to take around with them? Well, there's this thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. What was what thing?
Yeah.
There was James told it. Remember, I was telling you to look at it. It was the circle of Willis. It was in our brain. You talking about the Ankh? Yes, the Ankh. And they just always saw them with that. And every religion, everything, and everybody says, oh, that's the womb, that's this, that, and the other. I was in the doctor's office, and that is, well, it was named after a man. And I tell you the name that it's called the Circle of Willis, so you can go out and look it for yourself. I got it. I'm going to put it on the website. But it circles around the top of the brain. All the arteries and blood vessels are going, and it nourishes the brain, and it makes the body work. The body cannot work without that that organ working. So without that thing that's attached to the brain with all those veins and arteries and stuff, but it looks just like the Ankh. And I'm just like, and I remember telling my doctor, I said, what is that? He's like, it's called Circle of Willis. I said, yeah, I see the name. I said, well, what does it do? So he says it keeps the body functioning. The body doesn't do, and I was just like, I said, I saw that. I said, that's something that the Egyptians used to carry around with them. And he said, you mean the Himit religion? I said, he called it something else, and I said, yeah. That my nephew was telling me. I said, I'm studying that. And I said, when I saw that, it just brought things back to my remember. He said, oh, they could have never known that. I said, you say that, but they knew how to embalm before anybody did. I said, so how could you say that they didn't know that? So where did that come from? And so we have to, we were talking about this and how they take your heritage and they make it seem like that it's something foolish. I remember when we used to go to school all the time, and they would tell us, oh, I know your grandmother, your aunt probably told you that, you put butter. I'm just using butter as an example. They brought up a whole lot of stuff. But one of them, we started talking, and you put butter on your burns, and, oh, that's just wives' tale. That doesn't work. And they were making it seem like it was something evil. They have, the doctors have this, that, and the other. And now that same thing they were telling us that was wrong, they're telling you that actually helps your burns better than the stuff that the doctor is giving you. So we have to learn how to, I brought it back to that because you were saying that we need to recognize our ancestors. We need to know, we need to put that stuff in our head. We need to take it so that we can tell our children this stuff too. There's so much I want to say, but I want to say that, and then we'll go to the next topic. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine because we're going to touch on that for the next show, as far as the ancestors and venerating them and pouring libations, which black people have been doing for a long time. And we didn't know where that came from when you pouring liquor on the concrete for the dead homies. But
it didn't start a music video.
It didn't start a music video. This started and they still do it today in Africa. But we're gonna keep it moving. All right. ethics. I believe that's
I
what
just
I'm
wanted
on.
to touch on one small thing while you find your place. So you were talking about ancestry and how ancestry is carried through the woman, and it's true. If you look at how we talked about this whole Ancestry.com push to get everybody to log their DNA or whatever, and the way they find where you come from is through the mitochondrial DNA, which is carried on the female chromosome. It's the female chromosome that carries the genetic history. And that's how we are able to even find out what regions we come from, or where we originate.
Right.
Yeah. Even in their system here, you couldn't be a king. You had to be born from a queen,
right,
in order to be a king, right? Even though the king or the wazir, right, was still owned over the land, he couldn't do anything without his wife. It was a real partnership. So
you mean the Hermetic system, right?
Yeah, the Egyptian system. You had to be born, if you were to be a king or a queen, you had to be born from the woman of royalty. And they recognized that. So that's something that we definitely need to get back into, because your mother is your first teacher when it comes down to it. They teach you everything first.
Right. And you have to recognize the woman. In this society makes it as though a woman is worth nothing. But I remember there was a poet a long time ago, Edgar Allan Poe, I think it was. He had gone to Africa. And he said that he saw the woman, and she was walking, and the man was sort of walking with her or slightly behind her. And he said the man didn't find it, what did he say? He didn't find it like against him that she was so beautiful and that she was. And I'm thinking, why would they? This is the stuff that. And now these poems that they're talk about, they don't even give it to the kids anymore. They're taking so much away. And so the woman, when you read the Bible, the man always went to the woman and said, "What do you think? What do you think we should do?" And we've gotten away from that, but we have to start to teach our children, and our men have to learn this as well.
Right.
You're still the head of the household, but still, the woman has her place. The man has his place. Yeah. So it's not like you're small and I'm big. It's just like you all are equal.
Exactly. Equality. So I don't look at it as equality. I look at it as, like you said, everybody has their place and everybody is essential. So I don't. Cause to be equal, you have to have some comparison. But the role of woman and the role of man, there really is not much of a comparison. But they're both vitally important.
Yeah, equal as important. Yeah, they're equal as important. The one is not larger than the other. The one have better cells in her body than the man, but there is you can't make it work if I'm with you and I put you down. I don't care whether it's a man or a woman. You've got to see them as a part of you.
And that's exactly what it is. We are definitely a part of each other. We get pretty much the majority of our genes from our mothers, first and foremost. If you look at it scientifically, you will see that we are a mutation of what the woman is. And so this is they definitely play their own role, especially when you go in Africa and you look at how they do things. There's no you don't see a lot of homosexuality and stuff over there, hardly ever. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And this system that we're in now, everybody's confused, right? Like I said, so they have their own gender roles, like Tiffany was saying. Nobody's more important than the other person. Everybody plays a specific role, and we can dive a little bit more into that, a little bit later as far as this series goes. Because there's a whole lot that we need to learn about ourselves so we can start to get out of this whole thing. All right. So I think it was pedagogy was the next one that I was on. The method, practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject, or theoretical concept. And if you learn anything about Egypt, you would know that everybody came to Egypt to learn. This is where you get your first universities from, because that's one of the things that they teach you. They teach you kind of like how they teach us in school now. It's the same system but different. The first thing that they'll teach you, of course, would be like the elementary level, where you start to learn about the elements first, right? And then you get to like your middle school era, where you start to learn about yourself. And then you get to the high school, where you start to learn about the skies, the air, and all that. And then you get to university, where you start to learn about the stars and stuff like that. So this is a 40-year system that they went through. You have to be in these schools for 40 years in order to become to get to that higher level of consciousness and knowing about the universe and knowing about yourself at the end of the day. All this comes back to the first principle is gnosis, and learning about yourself. All right. So you also have the ethics, right, which is pretty much what governs you, right, with this system. And I have this book here. It's called the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the real name is Coming Forth by Day. And you'll see that they had 42 different principles that they live by. And you'll also see all your 10 commandments within those 42 principles, but it was just way more, because they had 42 different kingdoms, and all of them lived off of a different principle system. But you have to pretty much go by all of them and know all the systems in order to move on to the next level in your life.
Right. Okay. Yes. And I agree
with that. The last one is eschatology, right, where you learn about what happens to you when you die, where they have their own judgment scene, whether you get to move on to the next life, or you have to continue to repeat this life until you get whatever you did not get right corrected, in order for you to elevate your soul, where you can actually get to the point where you're in heaven, or you're at your highest state as a spirit being. All that is already.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish. I'll finish. I'll tell you what I was going to say. Because
no, that's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Since this is something that we don't experience a lot, and when my parents died, I saw this. I saw that there was a time when they just got quiet, and they were looking up, and they were, and you could tell that they were having a conversation, but a spiritual conversation, and getting it right before they died. And it was, when you said that is a part of something that we all, I haven't been around a lot of Caucasians. I was up in nursing. You do see them, so I'm just going to keep it to our family. And it's a thing that, and you can see, it's almost like you can see a change in them when they have gotten it together. I don't know how to explain it to you. If you can look at it as being freaky, but it's just, you can look at it and it's just like, oh my God, they got it. Whatever it was they were trying to get together, they got it together. And that is, and I think that's what we have to live our lives every day, is to do an assessment of ourselves, so that we know what we've done and what we haven't done. And there are going to be things that you have when you die. There will be things that you probably have forgotten, and that's that time for you and God to get that together. So that when you said that brought back memories of something, because it was something that I had never experienced before, and but it's and even when I told Daddy, and I knew he was getting ready to leave, and it's just like I kept telling him, I was like, I said, James and Tiffany, they're on the way, Daddy. And he was just like, because he hadn't spoken in days. And they had told us these are the signs of them dying. And I'm just like, and so I went there, and I held his hand, and I said, Daddy, I said, guess what? James and Tiffany are on their way. And he turned and looked at me. At first, I didn't know that he even heard me. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was like, it was like hours from that. But the moment you all got there, went and talked to him, I don't know what you all said to him. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether he just wanted you all to be there. When you all left, the nurse came around the corner less than 5 minutes and told me he was gone.
Yeah. So when I went in and talked, I think I was the last person to speak to him. Because like we drove because Chris had just got off the plane. He had just come back from Iraq actually, and he literally came home. We got in the car. I think James, you rode with us. Is that how it happened? I don't really remember.
Yep.
And we drove all day and night to get there because it was like a 13-hour drive from my house. And we got in. Everybody went and spoke to him, and I was the last person to speak to him. And I was like, "Hey, Granddaddy, I'm here." And he opened his eyes and looked at me, and that was it.
Wow. Wow. And I'm telling you that that spirit is something so powerful. You know, and he was in another place, and for him to hear you, that means he was waiting for you guys. You know, he just wanted to know you were there and that you were okay. If you all had not been okay with him dying, he would have held on a little bit longer. But he was he looked at you to let you know that he was okay. And I just think it's fantastic. I just think it's how God created this body is miraculous. And I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you on that, but when you said that, it sort of came back to my mind what had happened.
Yeah. This body is miraculous. You got to think of as far as what we're living here in the physical realm as the lowest plane. So you got to keep repeating this over and over again. This right here would kind of be like the version of hell that you got to get past. Okay, because this is the thing that the worst stuff could happen to you. Physically. So and we're gonna get into a lot of that coming up in these next topics when we get to the like the African spirituality, especially the ones that I'm studying now, where you start to touch on the spirit world that's constantly around us, and your guardian angels that are constantly watching over you and stuff like that. That's what we're going to get into. We're going to get the concepts that they have in Catholicism, and we're going to show you and compare what they got in Catholicism, pretty much took out of Africa, of course, and what they made it into and what we had before all that stuff, so you can get a better understanding. And these things work, We'll get into that later.
Yeah,
but
we got us started now. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's a real. That's a powerful subject once you start getting into a powerful topic that we're gonna get into. But yeah, so if they did have any type of religion in Egypt, it would be considered Ma'at, right? So Ma'at represented justice, harmony, prosperity, order, reciprocity, balance, and truthfulness. Okay, and these are the principles that they live by. And when you see her, she has a little feather on her head. If you ever seen the show American Gods, which is a really good show to watch. If you ever get a chance, watch that show American Gods. And,
I've never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, American Gods. You get a better understanding of what Ma'at represents. She represented the scale. Here we have a lady that holds a scale, but she's blind to the truth. Ma'at has the scales, and she knows everything. You have to weigh your heart on the scale against a feather. Your heart has to be lighter than a feather in order for you to pass on to the next realm. So you can't have anything heavy on your heart, or you have to repeat this again until you get it right.
Right.
So this is that'll probably be what this represents as far as a religion, and the opposite to Ma'at is Isfet, right? And Isfet represents lies, deceit. Can
I ask you a question? Can you spell Ma'at?
Yeah, M-A-A-T.
Okay. Oh, okay. So everybody would know. So they can go and look it up. Okay.
And sometimes it's spelled with an apostrophe in between the two A's.
Yeah. So M-A''A''T, Ma'at.
Okay.
All right, and the opposite of my ox, it would be Isfet. And Isfet represents lies, deceit, injustice, poverty, and lack. All right, so these are two principles that exist, and your whole life you got to figure out how to balance the two out, because whenever you're gaining something, you got to remember somebody else is losing something. All right, so you gotta balance this thing out, because whatever you're getting is being taken away from somewhere else. Because when you study energy, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It only transfers into another object or something else. Right. So these are some of the principles that we got to remember. Remember the sciences and stuff that we already studied, that we have today, has already been here in Egypt way before, and it's not any different. They're still studying Egypt right now to this day, trying to figure out these principles, because they figured it out a long time ago. They understand energy. They understand they understand nature. You know, these are principles that they already have. Right here, all your sciences, all your alchemy, all this other stuff, right, has been created here first. So, as far as this subject goes, you know, that's just it. I just want to open a couple people's eyes, so they can get a better understanding of who you are, because I know your whole life, especially for our black people, your whole life you have been taught that you are nothing, that you are bad. You know, that black is ugly, but you created everything that's on this earth today. And you need to be recognized for that. And you need to recognize yourself for that.
You need to recognize yourself. That's right. And this is our goal, is to loose the chains, to release those chains off of you. Because even if you're not enslaved physically, so they say, but mentally, once you've got your mind, and I go back to this, and everybody don't want to hear, people don't want to hear it, but we have by all means removed every avenue by which the Negro could get light. And if we can remove the means for them to perceive that light, we would have done our job. And that is, we need to realize that. And your light is in your brain. And I'm going to put a picture up there. They have gotten they call it the CAT scan. They can literally see electricity working in your brain. They don't know what it does. They don't know what it is. They can control it. They could, but they can't. And so just like God says that if you, as a poor man who can't control his own spirit, you got to be able to control yourself. You got to be able to dominate yourself, to know when God has said and when he's not, when you're doing wrong and when you're not, and when you're and to be thankful, like that prayer. And I want you to, when we end, I would like for you to say that prayer again, because that is a powerful, powerful prayer.
Right. Maybe we can put it on the website too.
Yes. Because we were talking, I don't know whether we talked about the last episode, but I think you and I, James, were talking about it. When my dad, one of our animals, we had lots of animals at the house. We had ducks, we had rabbits, we had geese, we had all this stuff. When one of them would die, my dad would tell us to, go and get dressed. He died. I want you to know he's dead. He had this way of saying stuff. Well, he's gone. So I'm going to go, and he, What'd you say, Tiffany?
No, it just brought me back to his memory, because he was a man of few words.
He was just matter of fact, and I was just like, oh my God. He was like, well, he's gone. And he'd go and get a box and whatever was big enough to hold it, and he would go and he said, you all go get dressed. We're going to go out here and bury, and you have some words you want to say. And he would always do the ashes and stuff. He would tell us to thank him, do whatever you want to say to him, and you say it as he took the dirt and put it in the thing. And that was part of something that was passed down to him from a long time ago, to us.
A long time ago. Yeah. That's little mama. So
she's awake.
Long time. Yeah, she's awake. So that's stuff that's passed to us long time ago, but we don't understand a lot of why we do it. And when you start to study the culture or the different African systems, you'll get a better grasp, and you start to understand, okay, this is why I do it, and this is why I should continue to do it. Just like now, and I want to give thanks to my ancestors, or what they will call their Agun. Right now, my grandfather Green, because we're talking about him right now. He gave us knowledge. He gave us perspective that we could still use to this day, that we still do use to this day.
Right.
So I would like to speak his name and to keep his life continuing here on this earthly plane, his memory here on this earthly plane, because he has given a lot to us. And these are life lessons. Like I say, he's a man of little words. He didn't have to speak a lot. But whenever he did speak, he spoke with power. And one thing that I remember that he'll tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes, that's true. You remember when he made you some sandals because your shoes? He said, "I think your shoes are too small. I think your shoes are a little too tight. Let me see what's going on." And he literally cut your shoes into a sandal, and they look good.
That's right. That's right.
That was funny. James and his rainbow socks. He thought that he was wearing those socks with everything because they matched. He didn't have to figure out what was matching. I was like,
I still wear crazy socks to the day. That probably was what stuck with me all through my life. I still wear crazy color socks. But
you didn't want to have to match them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it was. I'm still that way today. But
you got that from you. Call that to your mama. Your mama did that. She did. She bought the rainbow socks, and you were just like, "Yes, that's the ticket."
Yep. So I just want to give thanks. I just want to give thanks to his memory. One thing, I always remember that he told me was say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yes, he loved to say that.
Stick with me. Yeah, it always stick with me. So I want to venerate him a little bit and give him thanks, and I want to say ashe to his memory. And anything else y'all like to say? I'll go over this prayer one more time. But I did want to give thanks to the ancestors.
I sent you a text, so I was hoping you would get it. But I just wanted to know if maybe you could cite a reference or something, so people can, while we wait for next week, people can start looking and reading doing some of their own reading.
Yeah. As far as Egyptian culture, I got a lot of different books here. But you'll start to understand where it came from. I got the Greek corpus here, which they took all their I'm not going to say they took it, but they used their information to kind of create their own spiritual system. So I have the Hermetica right here by Brian P. Copenhagen, right? You read that. That's a really good book. You'll start to see a lot of stuff that you'll see in Genesis and stuff like that. You'll see it right there in the Hermetica as well. I have the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the real name is the Book of Coming Forth by Day.
That's a powerful book.
It's a very, very powerful book. Another book I have here, I didn't even go over this, but another book that I have is the Teachings of Ptah-hotep. This is like a lot of your Psalms and stuff. You'll see that he wrote this. So this is the oldest book in the world, called The Teachings of Ptah-hotep. As far as the prayers go and me learning about the African systems, I have two really good books. I can only find one of them right now. I'm going to searching around right now for the other one that I always read. But I'm going to give you the one of the main ones I have. It's called Ancestor Paths. All right, it's by Aladukun. All right. So Ancestor Paths, I'm about to read the prayer again that I got from this book. So y'all can actually go in, start to look at this information for yourself and learn and learn about your ancestors, because that's very important that you bring your ancestors up and you speak their name and you understand how to speak to their spirit that's helping you, because all this stuff is still in you. You just have to learn how to bring it out. That's all.
Yes. and the truth will speak to you. When there's truth that's spoken, it's just like a bell ringing on the inside of you. You know that it's true.
Oh yeah. What my friend told me just the other day too. I was searching for the truth. He's like, no. He said He said when you start looking for the truth, he said the truth will find you.
Will find you. That's true.
The truth will find you.
For sure.
All right. So, did anybody want to have any closing words? I'm gonna close out on this prayer again.
No, we're gonna let that prayer.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You do your thing, and and I'll give my parting blessing just at the very end. Not a prayer, but just just my parting words.
Okay, sure.
You want to do your parting words before the prayer, or you want to do it?
Yeah,
now?
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that now. Go ahead. So, thanks again, family, for joining us. I hope we were able to open your mind and enlighten you to a few things, or at least give you something to chew on while we wait to reconvene next week. I love you all, and have a good night.
Yes, likewise. James.
All right. So, aho matakuye oyasin, to the Creator for the ultimate gift of life, I thank you. To the mineral nation that has built and maintained my bones in all foundations of life experience, I thank you. To the plant nation that sustains my organs and body and gives me healing herbs for sickness, I thank you. To the animal nation that feeds me from your own flesh and offers your loyal companionship in this walk of life, I thank you. To the human nation that shares my path as a soul upon the sacred wheel of earthly life, I thank you. To the spirit nation that gives me invisibility through the ups and downs of life and for carrying the torch of light through the ages, I thank you. To the four winds of change and growth, I thank you. You are all my relations, my relatives, without whom I would not live. We are in the circle of life together, coexisting, codependent, co-creating our destiny. One not more important than the other, one nation evolving from the other, and yet each depending upon one another, one above and one below. All of us are part of the same great mystery, great spirit. Thank you for this life.
Yes. And I say, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for giving this time. And I pray that you have a blessed week and that God be with you, no matter what you call him, the higher source, our Creator. And we love you, and we say good night.
Ashe, love you.
Love you.